Hello, everyone. We are here live with Empowered and Heals with our beautiful guest, Diana. I'm going to read her bio. She's one of our co authors of Empowered and Heals 4, and her story is astonishing and it really reflects to how we as women need to put ourselves forward. But in the meantime, I want to read her bio. She is a holistic health wellness coach and consultant, a Tayo healing hands practitioner, and founder of Unique Balance, a private consulting practice based in Greater Toronto area for over 25 years. And she is in the wellness industry. Her mission is to um, empower other women with a unique balance and optimal health and happiness. And her educational background includes completing fitness leadership programs at Humber College, also certifications of CanFit Pro, personal training, and wellness nutrition wellness specialist. Honestly, I've met her. She's really well known in the fitness area and the wellness, and she holds honors oh my god, bachelor's of arts degree from the University of Toronto, and graduated with first class honors from the Institute of Holistic Nutrition. Deanna is a published author of professional ebook Fitness and Mindfulness for Optimal Health on BookBoons platform. And she is also the co author of Empowered and Heals 4 with an astonishing story. She is also a columnist for wellness and nutrition and biz fashion. I am so honored to have her as one of our guests and delighted to introduce you to this amazing lady I really admire. Hello, Deanna.
Hi, Susie.
Am I saying that right? Hi, how are you?
I like to introduce myself a lot, even at talks, as, "Hey, I'm Dana Banana," and then
I know it's because everyone has a different way of saying it, right? So that's where it kind of gets finicky, right? So I am so honored to have you as one of our guests here on Empowered and Heals on the 4th issue. Your title just had me in wows, and you were featured in Biz Fashion last month with that cover photo that you submitted for your book. Please tell us why you picked that title.
Well, ironically, a girlfriend of mine actually gave me the idea. She was with me through the thick of it and met me when I was married. I actually met her on my honeymoon. And when I was going through this journey and she knew I was writing the book, she kind of was like, "Well, you left it all behind." And I said, "Oh, yeah, that's a good title for my story," because I realized in my situation and my circumstances, many women may choose not to leave, and there's no right or wrong answer, but I really did leave it all behind. And I left it all behind. I really did want it to be a story of taking responsibility for your life and reflecting on the experience in a way that could empower others to navigate such challenging waters. So yeah, that's but I wanted a catchy title. It's like she left it all behind.
And I love it. And the photo that you submitted just shows your backside and you're looking behind, right? So, which really reflected on the title itself. So, I really wanted to know what inspired you to write about your story.
Well, I gave some thought to this idea, like, why did I write the story? And it's ironic, when I first started writing, it wasn't the tone or the energy I wanted to bring to my story, because it's very easy when you're going through a challenging thing like a divorce to blame the other person and to make the other person look like this monster. And regardless of what transpired between me and my ex-husband, I wanted to write something that my kids would be proud of, and that my grandmother would say, wow, you know, my grandmother's my Oma. She's 104. She's one of my role models. And I wanted to write something that she would say, I am so proud of my granddaughter for being able to look at this experience and find the blessing and figure out a way to overcome this really challenging situation and then use it to inspire others. And I want to do it from a place of empowerment and love and self-reflection. And often there's a, you know, a blame game. There can be a lot of negativity around a marriage breakdown and divorce. And I really wanted to shift the dialogue to empower people, to help share the tools I used, but also to gain the insights and to kind of be like the big sister that I wish I'd had, or, you know, get the guidance that I wish I'd had, or know what helped me so I can help other women to come out of it on the other side, not just a shell of nothing, but like a beautiful mosaic that got put back together, even more beautiful than she was before. And that's why I wrote it the way I wrote it.
I love it because it was very empowering. And most of the stories, that's what I try to instill in all the authors, is to be positive and do it as a tip to others, because that's why this book is about, is to empower other people with their stories. And then when you found, was there a defining moment in your journey that shifted your perspectives or gave you resilience and strength? So did you see that when you were writing your story, or is there a moment in your story that you really reflected on?
You know, I think there's several things I've done that caused some big shifts, but I really think writing my story and having to think about how I want it to be presented had me shift a lot in terms of the way I was telling my story. I had another girlfriend who, there was a point in time where I was really stuck and holding on to the past and not really moving forward. I was in a bit of a hamster wheel. And she says, Dana, you got to reframe your story. You chose to leave. Look at this in an empowering way. And you know, you work so hard on not removing being a victim and removing defensiveness from your life. How can you communicate your story as you're the heroine of your story? And then this coach that I've worked with recently, who's been amazing, because another thing I've always done is worked with coaches to help me see what I couldn't see. If I was getting stuck in any aspect of my life, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm stuck. Who can help guide me to see what I can't see so I can reach my full potential, communicate better, have more fulfilling relationships, and advocate for my worth and self-respect. And I always turn to guides and coaches to help me do that. So that was when I did that, there was definitely shifts as I worked with the coaches, but even having insights from friends and then being able to self-reflect, but also incorporating the 4 tools that I talk about, is like the nutrition, fitness, mindfulness, and seeking guidance. All of those have helped me to build strength and resilience in different ways.
And the way you put your story together, it really showed how powerful you are and where you are today, and where you reflect on moments that you don't blame anyone. It's both of you, which is really important in any breakup. And for your kids too, because you don't want them to see the bickering between the parents, right? I see that with your story and how you put it together. It was really empowering in that sense. How has your personal journey shaped the way you empower and uplift others?
Well, that's an interesting question, because it's really been an evolution, my journey. And I wouldn't say when I was young, my sisters used to say, you know, you and your self-help books. And at that point, it was the only way I knew how to cope and manage with whatever traumas we'd experienced as we were younger. For me, empowering, uplifting others, there was always a big fitness component, because for me, that's my life started with fitness. I was always in physical activity My parents had me in all sorts of sports, and so often I'm like, okay, let's get our bodies moving. That'll help us feel better. Exercise is such an easy way to lift the spirits. But then it's also, then I'm all like, I call it like the trifecta. It's nutrition, fitness, and wellness. But this is when we, eat the right food and we nourish our body. It helps us to be stronger and helps to give us energy and helps to manage our hormones. So there's a mix of components that have helped me to empower and uplift others. But I think the most empowering and powerful one now, of course, there's mindfulness, like meditation, self-reflection, visualization. Those have been massively important in this later part of my journey and through my marriage breakdown. Sometimes that was the most important thing for me to do, to visualize a beautiful possibility for this situation. But even more so importantly is, especially in the recent past, I realized the power of our thinking, our thoughts, and our beliefs, and our dialogue. And I always used to think I was a really positive person. And it wasn't until I was able to see that, oh, wow, I could use some tweaking here in terms of my thinking, my language, behaviors that I was repeating. So I now, my journey is really kind of shifted where I'm now, when I even working with clients, like working on a lot of mindset. And when I notice a way of speaking that might be actually have a not an opposite of an empowering impact on them, I'll say, I've noticed this in your spoken language. Let's maybe work on this. Or I know you're struggling with your husband in this. Perhaps we could shift the perspective and maybe look at it from a different light. So now I'm taking the tools I've used to working with my coaches, and I'm really working on mindset with clients. And I'm actually creating a program around empowered living. So empowering yourself to reach your full potential. And when we are working on reaching our full potential in the way we speak, in the way we think, and in the actions we make in our everyday life, that will then empower us in relationships and help us to shift, and then others shift. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does. So just to give a little insight in our issue of Biz Fashion this month, there is an article in there. It says how the power of our words, just what you just mentioned. So just check it out if anyone that's reading about this. It really reflects as to what we say, and we don't do it like we grow up with these words. So we hear it from our parents and we bring it back to life, and then we instill it in our kids. So it's just that cycle. And until you pay attention to the words that you say, that's when you're really going to break that cycle, right? So I understand really on what you're talking about in the vibration. There's another article in there about vibration, how you start your day and how you deal with problems. Because if you start your day awful, oh, it's Monday, all your Mondays are going to be, oh, it's Monday, and it's going to be all a horrible Monday, right? So I think it's really important to look at the mindfulness, like you're saying. Was there any big challenge in writing this story? Did you find that it managed you to overcome something, or add tips to the writers, give some tips to the writers if something you had and it kind of stuck to you and you didn't know what to say or put on paper? What could you advise?
Yeah. Okay. So that is a very good question. Challenging. What did I find challenging? It was, for me, like I mentioned previously, I wanted this to be a story of empowerment, because Empowered in Heels. And at the beginning, it was a lot of like, there's one thing I could say to writers is there's multiple drafts. You don't just write it all and it's done. You write it, you edit it, you cut it down. How does this sound? I even bounced it off some people because I had a story in my head of, how things went down. And I still have experienced my experience in a certain way. And at the beginning, it wasn't coming out in a way that I felt would make my kids and my grandmother proud and myself proud. And so I took time to edit it and revise it. What I found helpful when I was writing it, because I would get to write it, I found hard sometimes. And then so I would do voice notes actually. So one of these, because as I would, something would come to my mind, I'd have my phone and I would write voice notes about ideas or like the messaging I'd like to relay, or what lessons did I learn, what insights did I gain, and then having someone I trusted to read over it and say, this is kind of emotionally loaded. And the more I edited it and the more I continued on my healing journey, the more the piece, the writing shifted. And I'm really glad that I did healing practices and coaching in line with writing it, because I feel that it came out in an empowering light. But be patient for any of the writers who are, struggling to get something down into paper. I meditated a lot. I took an energy, like what energy do I want to embody? And I have shifted tremendously since writing the book. So it's multifaceted. I don't know if that answered the question, but there's a lot of different things I use. But I had a couple people give me guidance even before giving it to you guys for the edit. And then, just using different tools, because not everyone's going to sit there and just write or type. Sometimes you have to record yourself.
Yeah, and get some input from others, right? Because you want to have it uplifting so people don't go like get overwhelmed with it and then put it down and not want to read it. You want to get them empowered that they want to continue reading and want to know how you solved the problem or what tips you have given to others. Did you find that you had any tips that you gave to others to cope with if they were going through what you were going through?
I actually, I do have, like, there was tips. It was obviously for me, a lot of it focused around the tools I used to remain strong and resilient, which is typically it's not just one, it's nutrition, fitness, mindfulness, and coaching. But even since then, I've even incorporated more and more mindset. Now, mindset falls underneath the umbrella of mindfulness. Back then, but now for me it's almost a different section that now I was like, shoot, I wish I could put this in there, because what I didn't realize is that, and part of the reflecting and the insight I gained was taking responsibility for my way of being in the relationship, and how could I have done things differently? So now it's like, oh, I have all this information I would love to share with people in terms of one, I shared about traumas and how they can impact you and your reaction to certain situations. But it's also, there's so much in terms of mindset that we can do that I think I touched upon in the book, but I would love to have expanded more on it. But
yeah,
does that answer the question?
But yes, incredible. I think anyone that reads your story really will find a lot of emotional thoughts of how you handled it and gain power to it. I think, just leaving everything behind. Like, I put myself back when my mother was putting up with my father and he was very abusive. I wish she would have left him. And those days they didn't do that. So I give you kudos for doing that, even though, you left with nothing, and starting all over again is pretty tough, but you're where you are today because of it. It made you stronger, right? So with all this said, we are at 10 minutes. I would love to know how you felt when you got that book in hand.
When I got the book in hand, it was pretty cool.
Wasn't it empowering as wow, I did it. I finally did it.
It was empowering. It was a beautiful feeling. It was even more special because to know that I'm in a group with amazing women who were also sharing their story, and then, to be part of a series that is just to empower others, it's just the energy of being of service and lifting people up and having us share through experiences, right? It's one thing for us to learn through our own experiences, but if I can share, for me, it was like, oh my gosh, now there's a platform for us to share with people to help them. So maybe they can learn and maybe grow and not go through what we went through, or maybe handle themselves in a different way. But just to be with other women, supporting women, it's a really nice feeling, because like to open it and to see all the other stories and to be able to read the other stories of the women. And then, then you see your story and it's like, wow, it's actually available here to help people. It's exciting. It's very exciting. And I'm really, and it also gives, as a woman, it gives you a sense of pride. It's like, yeah, I wrote a book. I'm part of a co-authored book, but I'm an author. It's a really nice feeling and good for the confidence and just.
I am so proud of all of you guys. You guys did an amazing job on this book. I found it the easiest book to get together for some reason. All of you guys, all of your stories were perfect. They were enlightening. I didn't have to go back and say, oh, try to incorporate this or try to put this in. It went with a nice flow, all of you guys, especially yours, like really. I think a lot of divorces out there. So if you can help out a divorcee out there, a lady, of course, that's going through something like this with kids, that is making a difference in the world. And this is what this book is about. It's to empower others when they see the darkness of light and they need a light of tunnel. This is what I would hope you to pick up this book and be encouraged about and empower yourself to the next level of life, right? Because even though you went through so much, look at yourself today. You can give yourself a pat in the back for doing what you did, right?
Yeah, it can be hard. Like divorce isn't easy. And part of what I'm working on now is creating a program that helps empower people to really pour back into themselves, make themselves a priority, like women, empower them, but not necessarily to encourage divorce. Definitely in some cases it's warranted, but it's take care of yourself, make yourself a priority, and let's work on empowered living and empowering dialogue so that you can be the fullest version of yourself, and then a fullest version in a relationship. But if your marriage is falling apart, here are the tools that will help you make it out without being a shell of nothing at the end. And it's not easy. And so to give people tools to help them navigate something that was hard, and it's actually harder being in a relationship that's not divinely aligned, and you sometimes hold on. So it's getting clear on who you are, what you're looking for, what you desire for your life, and it's aligned. Just to empower women to make the best choice for them and their family. And it's hard, and it can be really hard.
It is. I remember my kids telling me, Mom, why are you leaving Dad? And it's like, okay, your dad's a good dad, but there's things that we do not coordinate on. And he's always going to be your dad, right? So I never tried to talk bad about him. But there was things that didn't allow us to go to the next level of our lives. And honestly, I am so glad I did it. Honestly, I found myself. I really lost myself. And that's probably where you were, to find yourself back, and you empowered yourself with health and wellness. And you've always done that all your life. But maybe that gave you that empty space that you're feeling, and filled you up a little bit more to empower yourself to get out of that relationship, right? I think it's important as women to put ourselves first. We tend to put everyone else on the book, and it's important to put us first and look at us and we're not perfect, and we're never going to be perfect. And don't put that stigma to yourself to be perfect, because God is the only one that can be perfect. Even, better every day is better for you in a way, and for your kids, right? So I admire you. Keep on doing what you do, Deanna.
Yeah.
I hope I said that right. Deanna, I have to remember. And I love how you do it, and you understand. But yeah, I admire what you're doing. Keep doing that. You're such a powerful woman and honestly gorgeous inside and out. And I am so happy with all of the authors. In every series, it's been amazing and it gets better and better in each book. The first one, I'm in the first one, and it was a little bit of a struggle because we had 12 authors, but I noticed with 6 authors, it's so much more significant because I can really touch base with the 6. With 12, it's really hard because everyone's all so busy and it was hard to get everyone. And it was a lot of work on my end. So I am so blessed that I have you guys part of this book. Honestly, it's been such a blessing. And please pick up the book at the website on the portal here at www.empoweredinheals.co or go to Amazon. You can pick up any author, type their name up. If you want to find out about their story, the book is going to populate it. Come on, get your story, share it with your daughters. You know what? This is a great book for any age. So please check it out. Thank you. God bless you. It was so nice seeing you online.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll see you soon. And then we do have our book launch date, so look out for it. I'm going to give it a plug. It's April 27th at the Wells Indigo. Look out for us at 10 o'clock. We're going to have a photo shoot. So if you want to come and meet us in person, chat before we're on our area at 11, come and say hello. Come get a book signed. Get your book online. Bring it with you or buy it at the Indigo there. They're going to have some available where we will be bringing them in. We'll have some consignment books there so you can pick it up there. Or you can order it online through Indigo or Amazon, either way. Please come and say hello, okay? God bless you. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you.